Hey, what is going on, everybody? And welcome back to the College Info Geek Podcast, the internet's best resource for getting ahead as a student, but a terrible resource for attaining divinity and ascending the mortal plane to become a god.
I'm working on that.
You working on that one?
Yeah.
I want to thank one of our listeners, Tech Crypto, on our YouTube channel for submitting that wonderful, terrible intro joke. I think we asked for them, and they're hiding in the comments of the 5 questions episode we did back in May, just for
what month
just
is
for
now?
your reference, Martin.
Is this still June?
It is still June.
Weird.
What is it? June 25th?
Okay. I don't know stuff.
Yeah, we are trucking through the summer, but it is currently that time of year when the sun just stays out forever, and it's great.
No, it's not great, Tom. It's currently the time of year where every time I walk outside, it's 90 degrees and my skin falls off.
It's fine.
How is that better? You wait till the sun goes away and then it's nice outside.
I'm going to tell you the same thing that my wrestling coach told me. Walk it off.
Get more sunburn?
You know, in hindsight,
that's
that
walking
maybe doesn't apply.
That's walking
to this
it on.
situation.
You're walking it on. That doesn't fix it.
Walk under an umbrella. Yeah,
I could get like a parasol.
Get yourself a parasol. That's
perfect.
perfect.
I could look pretty cute with a parasol.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I probably won't look into this because it's a lot of effort, but I'll look into it.
That's true. All right, well, we are, like 3 episodes away from this podcast's name being retired.
True.
And floating off into the ether.
It's going to grow up into a brand new podcast. It's going to evolve. Pokemon style.
Actually, you know what, Martin? Maybe what we should do is tell people the name of the new podcast in the next episode. And in between now and then, I will give you the task of getting any and all social media things for it.
Good point. We do need to do that stuff. Yep.
It's called Really Awesome Cast. Great job.
Yeah.
It's not called that. Don't go grab a Twitter profiles for that. Tim and Eric are going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you had the idea for this episode a long time ago.
I did.
I think the idea was actually to have our fiancés do the episode themselves and just complain about us the entire time. But neither one of them wants to be on a podcast, at least not on our podcast.
Yeah.
So apparently what you had both my fiance and your fiance do was submit a list of dumb things that we do.
Yeah, and we got to read them to each other, but we don't know our own list. I don't know what Ashley put down, and I assume I might cry during this episode. I might break down. I wanted to do this because we're near the end of the official College Info Geek thing, so I wanted to do some nonsense, like end of the year sort of stuff. Like you mess around on a couple of the last days of school sort of vibe, but also to humanize us. Just I've seen a couple comments, particularly from the YouTube audience, because there are so many people, where it's like you're some sort of productivity god, and I don't want to have that vibe make anything we do seem unattainable, because we're also just a couple of weirdos who said and did dumb things in college and then happened to do cool things.
I specifically remember you saying a couple of years ago that you didn't understand a lot of the comments in the YouTube channel because, and I quote, Tom's an idiot.
Yeah, I don't get it. They don't know that Tom's an idiot. They have no idea.
That's true.
That's the secret of the internet, though.
I think I've said this multiple times in the podcast, but one of the core competencies for an online creator is making themselves look good on the internet.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily have perfect sync with their actual talents and capabilities in every area of life that people may think they have talent in. So,
yeah. I just wanted to pull back the curtain a little bit. See, we're normal. You could do that, but then we're going to do cool stuff still. So that if you feel like an idiot, you could also do good things.
That is true. Yeah, actually 100% of all cool things have been done by people who are at least a little bit dumb sometimes.
Yeah. Dummies of the world, unite.
Mm-hmm. I also do not know what was sent to you. So I could probably guess just because
I think we could probably guess a couple things, but
things that Anna doesn't like.
I could probably guess 2 of the 9 things.
Oh yeah, you have 9. Do I have 9?
hopefully.
She has 9 things she doesn't like.
I know,
do.
right?
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? Like I could be like, I assume Ashley listed that I talk in accents all the time. I assume that's one of them, but I don't know what the other ones are. I have no idea. So this will be fun.
Yeah, this will be fun. And I would like to say for my own benefit before we start that apparently none of these things are bad enough for her to not have said yes when I asked her to marry her.
Oh, that's true.
Asked her to marry me. I didn't ask her to marry her.
She'd probably say yes to that too.
I like it, so I will put a ring on it. Boom.
Fair enough.
Well, actually, who was it? Who played Hermione Granger? What's her name?
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson. She said she's in a relationship with herself.
That's pretty cool.
So who knows? Maybe you could just put a ring on your own finger. There you go. But no, I asked her to marry me. And she said yes. So apparently these 9 things are tolerable.
Or brainstorming this list has actually set a terrible seed that will grow and our relationships are going to fall apart because these are going to echo in their heads for all eternity.
Well, there's also the what should be obvious conclusion, which is that as men we have the ability to change.
It's ridiculous. Why would I change any of these things? I'm going to do them twice as much as soon as I hear them.
I grew up watching a show called The Red Green Show. I don't know if you've ever watched it. It's a very
I've seen
Canadian
it
show.
Maybe once. I don't know.
It was on
much about
public
it,
television for some reason, but every episode they all are in this lodge and they're like, "All right, we're gonna recite the man's prayer. I'm a man, but I can change if I have to, I guess."
Fair enough.
And then they pontificate about the many uses of duct tape for about half the episode after that. It's a great show. I highly recommend it to anybody. All right. I've psyched myself up enough, Martin. Hit me with your best shot. And by your best shot, I mean...
We're starting off with one I find pretty funny already. So,
all right, let's do it.
All right. So you have one pair of shorts and they're cargo shorts. Now, along with this, I would like to tell a story of what I thought was the funniest thing. We were walking through the woods in Minneapolis once, and you had on the cargo shorts, and I was walking around in these purple shorts, and just out of nowhere, Anna's just like, you could buy more fashionable shorts and wear those instead, out of nowhere. And I was just like, that is the coolest thing that I've heard. You just, like, he can't change right now. We're in the woods. She's
a stone cold killer. She wanted me to fashion a loincloth out of leaves.
Yeah, just
that would be a little bit more tolerable to
now that you're wearing these in a different state in the middle of the woods and can do nothing about it. What are you doing that for? Question.
Okay.
Feel bad.
Here's the thing about me. I own fashionable clothes. It's just that when I want to look fashionable, I wear jeans or like a nice pair of slacks.
Okay, Dad.
And actually, then when I want to wear shorts.
Ashley would have listed you using the word slacks just now. So
look,
we got Dad Tom over here.
I'm not your dad. I just like wearing cargo shorts. They have big pockets, and if I'm going for a hike or something, I can throw a water bottle in the pocket of the shorts.
That's the daddest defense I've ever heard.
Okay, you want to know the real reason?
How are there deeper reasons?
It's not a deep reason. I don't want to go to the mall to buy clothes.
I mean, buying clothes is obnoxious.
It's annoying.
I once gave Ashley like an allowance and said, buy me clothes that make me look good because I hate stores. That worked out.
There is one specific pair of jeans from the Buckle, which means they're stupidly overpriced, but they're the only ones that fit perfectly. And every 6 months, I inevitably will wear a hole somewhere in them. And I will go back to the Buckle and be like, give me these jeans in this size, or I'll buy them online. They're about twice the price that I want, but whatever. Because
not a single pair of my pants has a hole in them. What? I have no idea what you do in pants, Tom.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I am like doing backflips off buildings every day, and
that'll do it.
That may do it.
That'll do it.
Well, no, because you even rollerblade. It's possibly because I wear skinnier jeans than you, maybe?
I mean, my pants are not loose.
Well, I don't know. But look,
I mean, what you should be saying right now is obviously it's because my thighs are the size of tree trunks and my manliness bursts through the jeans.
Well, that's what I was getting to.
I figured.
I crush men's head like sparrow's egg between thighs.
Yeah.
But this does not mean that Zangief is bad guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I basically subscribe to my jeans. And other than that, I buy all my clothes from Barbell because they're on the internet and they fit well and they just show up in a bag. And that's great. And then I have like a few, you know what? People who watch my YouTube channel back me up. Sometimes I dress all nice, just not with shorts.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna move on to your first one. Are you ready for this?
I don't know.
Are you ready
I can't guess. I can only guess one of them.
Are you ready for the metaphorical
I can guess
smackdown?
2 of them. I can guess 2 of them. I still don't know the other 7.
To be hit by an emotional freight train? All right, Martin. You want to hear how Ashley really thinks about you?
Yeah.
Number 1, you apparently assume everyone can understand basic Spanish and French questions, expecting responses in either respective language, which is true. You've never done this on the podcast. I think, well, you've actually said this to me many times. You're very good at modulating like what you say, depending on the context.
I would say that, yeah, I'm generally good at that, especially on the podcast because I'm paying attention and because I don't want to have to force edits or rewrites or something. But that is fair. I have done this in public many times to people who are merely flabbergasted that there was no particular prompt. I just kind of assume everybody's taken the first semester of every language, and therefore, if I keep it simple, it'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. But it never works. I just look weird in public.
Well, the problem is, even if we had taken the first semester of every language, which I've taken 1 year of French and 1 year of Spanish, you say it in the correct accent at a normal speaking speed.
But, well, I guess that's...
If you want to ask me my name in Spanish, what you need to say to me is, ¿Cómo te llamas? And like, then I'll be like, oh, no, okay. But you say it in this like perfect accent, and it just flies under the radar.
You know, I never actually considered that if I want to, but then I'd have to be using it on purpose, at which point I would say, wait a second, couldn't I just use the language I know they speak? And then the whole problem.
Okay, I do want to ask, like, does this stuff just come out without you thinking about it, or are you purposely throwing out?
Absolutely.
Oh, so it's totally unconscious.
It's on accident.
I mean, that's pretty
Sometimes
impressive.
I think, I think in some of the other ones, honestly, it's kind of a jumble. I've been trying to practice all 3 languages at least once every week or 2 lately because I kept mixing stuff up. So like in my Spanish class or conversation, I'd just say like, hi, or I'd think of French words during Japanese. And then it doesn't help when some French words get katakana-ized into Japanese. So then I'm like thinking about French and then some French will... I'm working really hard on keeping that from happening, but it just happens. It's my English has been affected. I say I went to university simply because it's easier when I think the words in French and Spanish, like université, it's like, oh, university. I get it. That makes sense. And so I use that in English now, and I read signs wrong, like the sign for a venue. I once was like, what is venue? I don't understand. Oh, it's English. Technically taken from French,
that's spelled just like escape.
Yeah, I really do that.
Hey, it's okay, man. Sometimes I put an EQ profile meant for vocals on a guitar on accident.
That's kind of similar.
Happens to all of us.
Yeah, you're just using the wrong filter. Yeah, I definitely do it in the middle of stores and stuff, and it's probably confusing.
Well, luckily, I can often guess what you mean from context. And if not...
Yeah, I assume Ashley's learned a lot of the basics at this point. I assume she just knows it.
Well, she did take 1 year of Chinese.
She's got a... Well,
so if you
Chinese
happen to throw one out
is
in Chinese,
the one I know the least in.
So it's the one you're least likely to unconsciously use.
Yeah, I'd have to be doing that one on purpose.
See, I think the perfect place for you to live would be like a Chinatown/Japantown in Paris.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because then
one of my favorite
whatever
tea
you throw out,
is
people will probably
in
understand what you meant.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I just really liked university because, you know, you stand out front of the library, you hear like 6 languages in 6 minutes. I always thought that was really cool. But when I'm hanging out in like some suburban neighborhood, it turns out that I can't just do that in like the grocery store and expect it to work.
Yeah, you really can't. All right, we have a lot of these, so
Yeah,
let's
we
move
do.
on.
Yeah,
I
we
think
do.
I'm next.
Okay, Tom, get ready for the
So-
gut punch.
Oh,
We're
boy.
going to talk about that one time you made a really bad dad joke at a Starbucks employee in front of a bunch of people because we were going to go on a road trip and I think we were maybe there were some people in there, but we walked in there and then you went up to the person
Oh my gosh.
at the register and informed her kindly that you have a bus full of kids outside and they're all going to want some fancy drink, some nonsense. And like Anna and Ashley and I were just like,
Why are all these about me being
I'm
the
sure
dad?
because that's your primary trait.
Oh my
that,
gosh.
that is going to be the focus of today, probably. But yeah, we're just I bet she had this never heard that one before look right on her face. It was just so good.
Okay, yes, I did that, and I stand by it. I don't regret it. It's fun.
Thomas Frank is
To
your
me.
internet dad.
I'm not your dad. But yes, I did tell the Starbucks barista that I was driving a bus with 40 kids who all needed double chocolate chip frappuccinos.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, I laughed. And I think
Well, I
that's
love
the
it.
hallmark
That's a great
of a good
story.
dad joke.
The thing is, in past tense, that story is like 1,000 times better. So all you did was it was an investment in future laughs.
That's true. And you know what? I bet that barista tells that story probably at my expense.
Yeah, but they
But
need that. They need
people
that to
still
like
laugh.
vent about their job. You know, it's
You know
helping
what?
them.
At least I wasn't like the person with the haughty attitude asking to see the manager because I didn't like the frappuccino I ordered.
Yeah,
Look,
this is just
dad
going to be
jokes
like
are harmless.
it's like a harmless story.
Yeah.
So there's
And
that.
you know what? You get it when you're young and you have to pass it on. When I worked at the grocery store, I had all kinds of people when it wouldn't scan correctly, they'd be like, oh, that means it's free, right?
Oh.
So it's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
And it's one of those harmless rites of passage. Some people hold on to like harmful rites of passage, like, oh, I had to pay student loans, so everyone else in future generations should have to pay student loans. I'm like, oh, does that mean like we should keep having polio and stuff too? Like just because people in the past have dealt with
Yeah.
that?
I think passing on some awkward moments is a lot better because that's just like, haha, you feel weird for a second.
Exactly.
Deal with it.
All right. Are you ready for your next one?
I am indeed.
This one is a bombshell. This is, I don't know if I can say this. You eat too big a portions of cookie dough, especially if the bowl is left unattended in the fridge, with the intent being for Ashley to make more cookies later.
I would
So you
say,
steal Ashley's cookie dough provisions and prevent her from baking.
well, she's
How dare
also
you.
put them in separate containers specifically so that there would be servings and that I would eat one a day. But on day 2, when she was like, hey, look what I still have, cookie dough. And I was like, what? Then I caught on and I was like, I looked in the fridge and I was like, I know what this one is. And then I ate that one too. So she's not wrong. She is wrong. It's not too much. I disagree
It's
with the
precisely the
characterization.
amount I intend to eat.
But it is very true that she even portioned it out specifically to avoid this. And I just caught on and took it out of the fridge anyway.
oh my gosh.
You
You know what? I think my
Go big or go home.
my sweet tooth is evening out as I get older.
Mine
'Cause I
is
used
only
to.
most of the time.
I used to buy a single pint of ice cream, intending to make it last for a while. And then within 24 hours, it'd be gone. And I always figured, okay, well, what I got to do is just never have ice cream in the house. Now I go to the store and I think it was like a little bit of quarantine. Like, what else can make me happy other than buying every flavor of ice cream? So I bought like 3
Fair.
pints, different flavors. And for whatever reason, they kind of stayed in there for a while.
You know,
I
that
ate
actually
normal
happened
portions.
to me too, but it only happened to me when I had specifically gotten like 4 pints of a limited edition flavors so we could try them all. And then inexplicably, they lasted forever. Maybe. So you know how you have too many choices, you get decision
Yeah.
fatigue. Maybe the trick is if we have enough desserts, we'll be like, I don't really want to pick one. So, maybe I don't need anything. And then it ironically keeps us, because we also had like 3 pints of ice cream in the freezer forever when
That is
usually they're
true.
there for a day. But it's because I can focus on one flavor and I know what I want.
And I have noticed that once
That's
my
interesting.
favorite one gets eaten, I'm a lot slower to eat the other ones.
Like, is that a life hack? Do I need to confuse my dessert desires and then they'll give up?
It sounds like a pretty dubious life hack.
It seems like it would backfire for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And also me if I try it on purpose.
Yeah, if you try it on purpose, you're gonna be like, I know.
I'm gonna know what my own game is.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm hip to your game, and I am going to eat all this ice cream anyway.
Yeah, probably.
So,
no self-control.
That's your second one.
Okay.
All right, bro.
Number 3. Apparently, you always leave the heels of a loaf of bread and you do not eat them, but you also don't throw them away when you start a new loaf. So there have been times where there were like 5 bags with just the ends of the bread in a bread pile, and she has kept telling you to just throw them out, but you don't, and you just leave them. First of all, that was my favorite slice of a bread loaf growing up.
That's your favorite?
How are you wasting the one with the most delightful crust?
The best bread is the not crust.
No, okay. Crust. I'm on board with the crust.
All right. We have to make a little bit of a distinction here, because if you're buying like really nice French bread from the store, like from the bakery.
I liked it with terrible bread from my poor childhood too.
No.
For some reason, I just like the ends of the bread. But why would you leave them? Why would you just leave them in a giant pile?
This is a war inside my mind that happens on an unconscious level. And it only happens for a few seconds until I get overwhelmed and want to go do something else. When I was a kid, we always threw the heels away. Nobody in my family liked them. And then I grew up older, and I'm like, well, I should eat the heels of the bread. I don't want to waste the food I'm buying. And what ends up happening is I'm like, but I don't want to eat it. So I leave it there intending to get to it later. And then I never do.
You should just get a compost.
Yes, we should.
Donate that bread to the gods of bacteria.
I could donate that bread to the bacteria gods. I need to figure out the process for doing it. And whenever I have a bigger yard, I will absolutely do it.
I've seen some, actually in Denver, I've seen some cans in my area where you can get a compost bin, like your trash bin, and they'll come take that. I'm not sure how the process is to getting one, but apparently Denver has a composting program.
Okay. I would have to figure out,
that's pretty neat.
How bad it smells. Because the way my house is set up, where like I can technically get the trash cans in the yard, but it's like really annoying because the gates to the back alley where the truck comes are kind of broken, and I need to have my landlord fix them. So right now we just keep them in the garage because the people who are like running the HOA, they don't like the trash cans.
Oh yeah, you can't be messing with the HOA.
Nope, they will rain down fiery justice upon you and make you rue the day you ever cross them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out like some cool acronym for HOA. I got like Hell's Angels, but there's an O in there. Hell's Other Angels. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. It's the not the main, like the other ones. It's the other ones.
Yeah, if you're a Hell's Angel, you either ride a motorcycle or you manage a neighborhood and tell people that, hey, your grass is getting a little bit too long, if you know what I mean. And what I mean is your grass is getting too long.
You're just going to inspire HOA people to get cool leather jackets or something when pointing out flaws. Like, your trash can's too far out.
Honestly, I like this feature. It would be much more amusing
if they roam around like some like stereotype 50s snapping their fingers leather jacket gangs, and they just
what they do
complain
now
about your house.
Is somehow my neighbor hears about it from them through some passive aggressive non-confrontational means, and then they call me and say it all nice. I would much prefer like a 50-something middle-aged woman to come to my door wearing a spiked leather jacket with like shoulder spikes and tell me to my face, better. Mow your lawn and put your trash cans in the garage.
I've definitely had a complaint.
Otherwise, we're gonna have a problem
or two. And I get them in the mail. I just get them like as a letter, and I'm just like, yeah, but which one of y'all sent this? Who did this to me? What, you just driving around looking for things to yell about?
It's classic KGB tactics.
Which neighbor is it?
You never know where it comes from, so there's never a target.
It's definitely the KGB.
Exactly. I mean, hey, 3-letter acronyms. There's got to be a connection there, even though none of those letters are the same.
Yeah, that's what they want you to think.
I'm going to move on to your third one.
All right.
which is that you take on accents for long periods of time, sometimes without knowing or being able to easily switch back.
This one was coming.
I do remember this one when you switched into like a
didn't
Georgia
like
accent, and
she didn't like my Lowry lemonade thing because I ordered the drink talking like that. But in my defense, linguistics are cool because what happens is when you have an accent and when you speak certain languages, you have sort of a different default mouth position where your muscles are sort of positioned or tensed in a certain way, or your tongue's in a certain position, or your throat's a certain level of tenseness that affect what you're saying. And once you get into one of those positions for long enough, it gets hard to switch back because it's sort of a muscular habit, and it's and I legitimately can't get out of them without consciously thinking. So I'll like be in an accent on accident, then I'll consciously say something out of it to try to break it. But then when I'm not paying attention, the muscles will shift back to right what they were doing before. And they'll be like, that's how you pronounce that vowel. And I'll be like, what? No, it's not. Stop it. And then I can't stop it.
It's like your parents told you when you were a kid, if you make a dumb face, it's going to stick if you hold it for too long.
It's definitely like that. I've been in an accent for like 2 hours once because I let it go on for the first 40 minutes or so, after which it's very difficult to get back out.
I remember this specific instance because I just kept egging you on, and Anna got legitimately angry at me.
I wonder if that's in this list. I feel like
I kept doing it because I knew you would respond in the accent, and then you got stuck in it.
Well, also, I got to watch this because I like accents so much. If I hear somebody talking, I will sort of eventually accidentally or subconsciously mimic the way they're pronouncing vowels.
Oh, yeah.
This is how I learn language. This is why I can speak them with good accents. But
it doesn't come off that way.
I had somebody from Georgia as a Lyft driver, and I caught myself at one moment. I used like a more of a Georgia I in one of the letters. My vowel was very much his accent, and I was like, I hope he doesn't think I'm mocking him. I'm not mocking you. This is a complete accident. But I feel like I'm going to accidentally make people think I'm mocking them.
Yeah, I'm just either none or
to
the moment you
mimic
get in the car,
accents.
The moment you get in the car, you have to commit to it.
You got to commit to the whole thing.
And then if they ever see you again,
forever,
it'll be like that Parks and Rec episode where Tom meets the girl he really likes, so he goes into a British accent at first.
Yeah, and if they ever saw like the podcast, I could just be like, that's my presenter voice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's called what is it called? It's Transatlantic Standard Accent. I think it's called something like that. My friend Austin Evans, Austin McConnell has a video about it. It's called Why Do Reporters Talk That Way? Coming to you live from the scene of the crime.
Yeah, it's super like enunciated, and
I'm going to speak everything in this weird presentory voice. It's apparently because accents that are foreign to people are deemed less trustworthy on the news, so they worked to create this accent.
I could see that being
not
subconscious
foreign to anyone.
Bias.
Really.
I could see that.
So it's not your home accent, but it's so neutral.
Especially since these were developed a long time ago too, like this.
Yeah.
So that I could see how that would happen.
It's apparently because reporters and news anchors tend to move around markets a lot. So they'll spend a couple of years in like Ohio, and then they'll move down to Texas. So you wouldn't
sound like the local newscaster, which is what you wanted to hear because you trust your local news. But if it sounds like somebody from way across the country, you're like, you don't know about my town. Why should I trust what you're saying about it?
Yeah.
I could see how that would happen back in the day.
Yeah. So the compromise is no newscaster sounds like they're from your town. They just all sound like newscasters.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that would have been less of a problem these days with the internet. I feel like we're so familiar with places way farther away from us. It's not that strange.
Yeah.
To meet tons of people not from around you, and it's perfectly normalized because the cities have absorbed so many people.
It's one of those many things where something is a certain way because of the prior technology it was based on.
Yeah.
Like I will tell people to rewind a YouTube video sometimes. Which like,
and that's like
not the right term. It's scroll back or go back, but like
you're probably just gonna click the button on the right.
You don't stick a pencil into the computer monitor and like twist it.
Yeah.
So, Boy, how many of my listeners even know what I'm referencing there?
Yeah. Only 90s kids will know this one.
I remember when I badly wanted a Walkman.
Let's fall into really terrible memes.
I couldn't afford a Walkman. And then once I had enough money, CD players were a thing. So I bought a CD player instead. I had one with skip protection. It didn't work very well.
Skip protection barely worked.
Yeah, and then I upgraded to an MP3 CD player, which instead of encoding as audio on the CD, I guess using the magnetic part of the CD, it encoded as data, and you could fit 150 songs in a CD instead of 15.
Yeah, but you got to know like really what's track 84, which is terrible.
It was fine. I had a list. I had a list on my computer. I was ready for it. It was great. And then I got my MP3 player, and now our music just exists in the ether somewhere.
Yep.
And new music comes out, and instead of being like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to ride my bike 3 miles to the record store to listen to it on like a crappy pair of sample headphones.
Well, you're really bringing out the I went 15 miles both way up hills.
tear the plastic off the CD, and hopefully the clerk doesn't notice so I can sample it and then buy it. We used to have to buy music without hearing it.
Barnes like and Noble had like a hearing station.
But that was like a new thing. When I was in middle school, it was like the record store I went to had a few sample albums, but you couldn't sample everything. For a lot of stuff, you had to buy it. And it was like opening a pack of Magic cards. And I specifically remember my favorite band in high school was I Am Ghost. Super emo. They're real. You can make any conclusion you want about me from that band. But their second album is fantastic. They have like this violin player and a great drummer. And they only lost half the band. I didn't know about this because the internet was barely a thing back then. They come out with their new album. I'm so excited. I wait months, ride my bike to the store, buy the CD, come home, pop it in. Instant disappointment. It was terrible.
That's unfortunate.
But there may have been some merit to it as well, because you only had a few CDs.
Yeah, I feel like you really like value the ones you have more. It was worse for browsing music, but much better if you're the kind of person to get really deep into 1 or 2 albums. Yeah. Since that was the default, you had no decision fatigue scrolling through Spotify seeing like, but I could focus on 800 other good albums today.
I feel that. I'll be listening to something on Spotify, and I'm like, I feel this pressure to skip forward in the song so I can hear the chorus because there's something sitting in related artists that has caught my eye and I want to go see it.
Yeah. It's like, it's difficult to stay focused with so many options, but that's life.
This week's episode of our show is brought to you by friends over at Skillshare, which is an online learning library with thousands of different classes in tons of different topics that can help you to boost your creative skills and possibly even your career prospects. They have classes ranging from topics like digital illustration to After Effects animation and video editing across pretty much every video editing program that you could think of. They've got Premiere Pro classes. They've got Final Cut Pro classes. Actually, my friend Ali Abdal has a fantastic Final Cut Pro class. So if you're on a Mac and you want to use Final Cut Pro, and I kind of wish that I could because Premiere bugs me sometimes, my friend Ali has a great course on that. There are filmmaking courses, music production courses, all kinds of great stuff. And one course that I want to recommend this week is Christopher Rhodes' class on making videos on a budget. If you want to get into making YouTube videos, if you want to get into making videos for clients, but you have maybe modest gear or a small budget, his class is a great introduction for using those constraints to make something that's really creative and really great. I love, in particular, one class he has, or one video in the class about location scouting. This is something that I personally would like to get really good at, because he has this whole process of finding these different locations on this website that seems kind of like Airbnb, but for creative spaces, and then getting one that's within a small budget and kind of using every inch of it to get all these different shots and to make something that looks like it might have been filmed in a much more expansive and varied space. So that is an awesome class to check out. Also on Skillshare, 2 classes from me. One is on building your productivity system, which is the combination of your to-do list or task manager, your calendar, your note-taking system, and your file management system. That class is all about making those things work in harmony. And then another class about habit building. It's a class about taking your big long-term goals, turning those into daily habits to help you make progress on those goals, and then learning how to stick to those habits instead of abandoning them after the novelty wears off. So if you want to get a 2-month free trial of Skillshare and test it out completely unlimited for free. You can go over to Skillshare.com/geek and sign up. And even after that, Skillshare is a incredibly affordable platform with their plans starting at less than $10 a month. Once again, Skillshare.com/geek to sign up and get that free 2-month trial. And thanks, as always, to Skillshare for sponsoring this episode and supporting our show. And another big thanks goes out this week to our second sponsor, which is Brilliant. If you are somebody who wants to improve your mastery in the areas of math, science, or computer science, and also improve your problem-solving skills, then Brilliant is a resource you're going to want to check out. In their library, they have more than 60 in-depth, challenge-based courses that can help you master these STEM-based topics. And they have these kind of logical progressions of bite-sized problems that will challenge you. They will kind of get you stuck sometimes, but they're not overly frustrating, and they are laid out in a way that helps you progress through the material a lot faster and with a lot more interest. And when you're more interested in the material and when you are more actively involved from the get-go, you learn a lot more effectively. So within their course library, you're going to find, number one, a full math suite starting all the way from the basics of number theory, working up through algebra, geometry, getting up into calculus, and the really advanced things like differential equations. There are also statistics and probability classes. And then within the science areas and the computer science areas, you'll find courses on gravitational physics, on classical mechanics, computer science courses like Python programming, the basics of algorithm design, and some really cool ones on how search engines work, on how neural networks work. It is a vast course library, and you're definitely going to find something to sink your teeth into there. So if you would like to get started learning, then head over to brilliant.org/collegeinfogeek and sign up. And if you're one of the first 200 people to use that link, you're going to get 20% off their annual premium subscription, which gets you full access to that entire library of courses. Once again, brilliant.org/collegeinfogeek. And thanks, as always, to Brilliant for sponsoring this episode and supporting our show. All right, what are we on, number 4
I think
for me?
we're number 4. Okay, so I'm not aware of this one, but apparently you cannot commit to memory what color of washcloth is yours. And so you keep on using Anna's, even though she's told you a million times which color is hers and have even mentioned where she stores it and said, please don't use it, but you keep forgetting and you keep using it.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say about this one. I just have an inability to remember. I know it now. It's been drilled into my head enough times now. But yeah, color of like bath towel and washcloth, for whatever reason, the color just cannot commit it to memory.
I think it's going to be funny how many of these for both of us end up just being like the simple inability to pay attention to something, when largely everything we talk about on the podcast it's all about how we pay way too much attention to lots of things and think about all this, and we try to do cool strategies. But then it's just like, what color washcloth is yours? It's the one.
No
it's
clue.
It's like a washcloth. What do you want from me?
Yep. I think a lot of these may stem from the fact that you're spending nearly all your time around another person who gets to observe all of your idiosyncrasies, and then you're also trying to do a lot with your life. So
yeah.
Necessarily, some of it you're just kind of bad at.
Yeah.
But you know what? I would rather be bad at
can't do
remembering
everything.
what color of washcloth that I need than something more consequential.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So not too bad.
That one's not too bad.
You'll
I
recover.
don't have a lot to say.
You can
about
recover.
it.
That's fine.
All I'll say about it is I think I fixed that. So, all right. This one I think is hilarious. Makes up parody words to almost any song and creates new songs about the current activity at any given moment. Do you just like sing about the fact that you're like cutting up a carrot? Like making dinner?
Yes.
I'm cutting up a carrot. Glad it's not a ferret. Ooh, hey, that was a rhyme right there.
I do, in fact, parody every song and or freestyle new melodies and or freestyle rap what I'm doing, which I'm decent at that sometimes if I get the right starting point. But the only reason that I'm constantly singing what I'm doing.
The only reason you're not a successful rap artist is because you don't have.
There was like something.
What's the word for it? They're just like rock solid, both combination of inner self-confidence and deep desire to put everything you make out into the world.
Yeah, I love rhyming and wordplay and rap, and everything about it. I just don't feel like I personally have any interesting stories to tell. And I don't just want to rhyme for the sake of rhyming, other than when I do it all the time at home. Like, I wish I could remember what it was, but I was like just in the shower the other day, like in the half a second where I turn off the water and open the door, immediately like 4 lines with like 5-syllable rhymes in each of them appeared. And I was like, what? And then they disappeared. And now I don't know what they are anymore.
You gotta get, I'm serious about this. For someone like you, because you're like me, you gotta get an Apple Watch, because you can, number one, it's waterproof. So you could shower with it if you want to. You can set a complication for your voice memo to be a button on the home screen. Because I will just start singing random crap in the bathroom, and then I'm like, wait, that's actually a really good chorus, a really good verse. I want it. And I just have hundreds of voice recordings in my watch of random lyrics. I mean, a lot of times the lyrics don't make sense, and they are just kind of like a placeholder to get the melody down and the kind of like a syllable down. The melodies are there, and like sometimes I'll beatbox to it, or like throw in a melody so I can remember, like, okay, this is how it was in my head. Here's how the words went. I found that if I just do the words, a lot of times if I listen back, I can't remember what it was supposed to sound like underneath the words. But yeah, like some way to easily capture audio wherever you are is very useful if you get
that'd be a cool idea. But yeah, there are times I am always singing what I'm doing. There are times where we're driving and I don't even notice that I haven't turned any music on because I'm singing some nonsense. Yep. I freestyled down in Minnesota randomly about needing to get gas in the town Owatonna.
Oh, yep. I've been to Owatonna.
Yeah, you're going down to Owatonna. You know, you want to put enough gasoline in this machine to pull a Tonka, with several other lines. And like it was pretty good by the end of it, but it was still nonsense. And then I'll just remember, wait, most people would like turn the radio on, wouldn't they? That's not what I did.
But sometimes you just make a lot of noise.
And I like remember all of my freestyles because of that. But what are you going to do? It's maybe I'll give it up, but maybe I'll never give it up.
I mean, you and I have some similarity here. I would not be surprised if on your list Anna has written, doesn't even realize he's singing all day long and doesn't ever stop.
Yeah.
So if that's on there, called it. But then again, this is one of those lists where it's not that impressive if I call it.
Yeah.
So which I think it's actually, it's your turn to.
We're going on number 5.
I think so.
Okay. This one's not fair. Apparently, you insist on bending over the sink and putting your mouth underneath the faucet to rinse your mouth after brushing your teeth, instead of just using a cup like a regular person. It's so much more work and effort to do it that way than to just use a cup. There are 5 question marks here. Now, I would like to point out that I also do this, so I don't feel it's a valid criticism.
Look,
it saves cups. It saves cups, and it makes me closer to a cat.
It does make me closer to a cat.
That's cool. There's virtue in that, right?
I guess. I don't know. I've seen clips of that Cats movie. I don't know if I want to get that close.
Well, that's probably true.
I don't know why I do this. I think I do it because in the dorms in college, I just never had a bathroom cup in my shower caddy I had to bring into the bathroom. And I just got used to bending down and using the sink.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not a big deal. It's fine.
Well, it deserved 5 question marks. So Anna is clearly flabbergasted.
She's so confused by it. She does not understand it. And she's 100% convinced that I do it now just out of stubbornness, because she has like convinced me logically that using a cup is better. But
like, you have to grab another tool and use it.
I will agree that using a cup is easy, but I will also submit that bending over and drinking from the sink is not hard.
Well, yeah, and especially because you don't even really have long hair or anything. Like, if you had longer hair,
I don't have long hair.
Maybe it would be ridiculous if you were dunking your hair in the sink.
I also don't.
What's the difference for you?
I don't make every choice in my life based on the minimization of physical movement. Like, another thing, it's probably not on the list, but I will take the first parking spot I find. even if it's super far away from the store. Like if we're going to Walmart, I will I'll go in the back of, I will park in the back of Walmart just because in my head, I'm like, I am totally willing to walk an extra 30 feet. But if I pass up this parking spot and I go forward and there's no other ones, I'm going to have to loop back around. And that is abhorrent to me because it's having to
you do the same
something.
thing in like a Midwest winter.
It's
and
fine.
you're like 5 blocks away from the place we need to go.
I grew up in the Midwest. It's fine. It's just cold.
Yeah, but why not make it less cold?
Because I don't know. It's not that
bad.
Well,
there it is.
It's not that bad.
I don't know.
Suck it up. Sounds like more dad.
All right.
stuff.
Well, that wasn't even one of them. But there was a bonus one.
All right. Well, okay. This doesn't seem okay.
Is one of these sneakily a compliment? Because that'd make my day.
All right. The first part of it seemed like a compliment. Takes photographs in the sun while holding his breath for a long amount of time, which to me sounds like proper macro photography.
You need to do it. You got to do it.
Likely going to pass out someday from doing so. Currently gets sunburned from doing it.
Well, that's not the only thing that happens to me. So I'm photographing like insects or flowers, and when there's the slightest breeze. One of the flowers I photographed recently is smaller than the nail on my pinky. So if there's the slightest breeze, I have to be so still and so good, and I don't want to scare the insects. So I'll hold my breath for like a whole minute trying to take a photo and get sunburned. But get this, it's also so bright outside because it's got to be really bright for me to do handheld macro without a tripod. And one of my eyes is in the camera lens and the other one is closed. So when I get up and open my eyes, I am half blinded, and I have been holding my breath for a minute, and I'm overheated. So I'm probably going to have a heat stroke and die doing this. That's not wrong. I have no defense. I don't know how else to take good photos.
You know what, Martin? Bleed for your art.
It's like, so photography for me, it's like, it's like modeling in high heels. Beauty is pain. So I have to hurt myself to get the beauty into the camera, and that's fine with me. If I die and I'm holding my camera, somebody get the SD card and pull out whatever I was taking.
You make something, you leave a piece of yourself in it.
I gotta.
You gotta.
But she's not wrong. I'm probably gonna. Maybe I just shouldn't be doing that alone all the time. That way, somebody notices if I like die in the bushes.
Macro photography spotter.
Yeah. Can you spot me? There's a cute bee over here. It's adorable.
It's got a heart rate monitor on you. Oh, it's dipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine once you get the Laowa lens, it's going to be worse.
Yeah, that makes it way worse.
So
I was just like bending over a pond with that one. Yeah. So if I had like lost balance, I could have fallen into the water. And I can't swim, so that wouldn't help.
Okay, I was about to say that might be funny. There is a scene in the latest Spider-Man movie where like the teacher drops his camera in the water and it's kind of funny. But if you can't swim, it's not funny. You need to learn how to swim.
See, I'm still going to die. Well, yeah, but I was going to do it every year and something comes up like
I will
pandemics.
insist to Ashley that if you're ever near water with a camera that she forces you to wear like one of those rubber duck inner tubes around your waist, specifically rubber duck ones.
That's adorable.
Then it would be funny to me.
Well, and then I feel like I would actually feel less awkward because I'm calling attention to it. I'm not trying to be like, just leave me alone, guys. It's my inner tube. Like,
that's true.
I'd be like, no, look at this inner tube. It's so cool.
True.
Like I can get away with it if I'm confident about it.
My mask that I wear when I go out in public has like little kitty cats on it. It's adorable. My other one has dancing frogs.
Nice.
It's great.
Good calls.
All right. What's the next one?
Number 6. Yeah, this one's very true. You buy a ton of boxes of different types of tea, even though you don't drink tea, 3 question marks. So even though Anna's the tea drinker in the house, like 80% of what you have is yours and you just never drink it. I would like to personally add to this that you also leave tea steeping in the cup for like hours because you just stick it in there and leave. Like that's all it takes to drink tea is to throw tea into water and walk off.
Well, I've solved that one.
Yeah?
I've solved that one because the only tea, I'm doing air quote things for the audio people. The only tea I drink anymore is herbal infusions where I can just put
at least that won't oversteep for the most
water
part
and take it with me. Yes. So there are many things in this world that I aspire to be and then end up failing at. Being a regular tea drinker is one of them. In my defense, if we're ever at a tea store, it's Anna who wanted to go. And then I'll be there and I'll be like, well, this tea smells delightful. I could just see this future where I wake up in the morning and I put some water on the kettle and I brew some of this wonderful green apple senja and I enjoy it peacefully. And then that doesn't happen because I go home and the next day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I need to get to work immediately. And I throw coffee in the coffee maker.
That is kind of the opposite mindset of tea. Tea is like not rushed.
Yeah. So now I think I've learned I may relapse. We may go to Kucha and someday in the future and I'll be like, ooh, oh, but this one I will drink.
It is all delightful.
But for the most part, I just buy Celestial Seasonings Bengal Spice and I usually drink one a night.
All right. Fair
but
enough.
in my non-defense, apparently she also bought me an herbal cinnamon tea that I keep forgetting about.
Sounds about right.
Okay. The next for you is that you use less common, though not quite pretentious, words without realizing. This doesn't seem that bad. It's not pretentious.
She is absolutely referring to the words untenable and tenuous.
Well, untenable is a great word.
Yeah, I also like the
time.
word indubitably. I'm not trying to be ridiculous. This is just how I talk.
Indubitably is a great word.
But I can't think of any other examples because it's just how I talk. But I know tenuous and untenable because she specifically makes fun of me every time I use them. And I'm just like, it's just a word. This situation is untenable. What else would you call it? And then, and I don't know.
I love the word untenable.
I like languages and words. Yep. It makes perfect sense that I'd be using weird ones. But it's not like I'm not like, I would say this situation is a bit untenable. And then like I'm expecting somebody to like applaud me. I'm never trying to talk like above anybody with weird language they don't understand. I don't think untenable is that crazy. If it was a ridiculous word, I would know and not use it.
I surmise you're impressed with my vernacular selections.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say that on accident. I wouldn't do that. I'd be perfectly aware what I was doing.
Looks down at thesaurus.
Yeah, I just walk around with a thesaurus every day and I'm like, look at me, I'm so smart. I've made every conversation 80% longer and 20% less valuable.
My phone's home screen is Merriam-Webster's word of the day, and I always use the word of the day.
I hate it.
So, the term of the zeitgeist.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I'm going to use the word untenable thrice today. Also, I say thrice. I say thrice all the time.
Thrice is pretty good.
I like it. It's a good
band.
word. I'm gonna say the word untenable thrice today, and she's gonna hate it, and I'm gonna say that she brought it on herself.
Yeah. All right. What's my next one?
Number 7. You only eat your leftovers like 30% of the time. That's Tom. I've seen y'all's fridge.
Yeah.
It is literally always filled with leftovers. I don't even know if you have to get regular food in there. It's just filled with leftovers boxes all the time, and apparently that's because you do not eat them.
I'm also pretty bad about that. I don't have a lot to say about it. I'm bad about it.
That's no defense. The defense rests.
Many days I just simply do not eat lunch. And then dinner comes around and I'm like, there's something specific I want for dinner. So, yeah. I should probably be
well, with this and like all the bread slices and stuff, you should just like organize a food drop off. Here you go. This could feed somebody. This is enough leftovers to feed somebody. Here you go.
Okay. Your next one. Accidentally, but consistently, pours too much alcohol into a glass, usually whiskey.
I don't know serving sizes for anything.
Well, there's something. It's like
a
little metal thing that has an ounce pour.
I don't want. Listen, I don't even mean to. I drink like one drink because I'm like, this is pleasant. I don't even try to like get intoxicated or anything. I just try to pour one drink and then I pour like half a glass of wine of vodka and I'm like, is that the right amount? I'm not sure. And then I just like, no, it was not the right amount. I'm wrong. But I do the same thing with everything. I do it with soap. It's way too much hand soap.
You pour yourself
shampoo,
a glass of soap.
And yeah, I pour a glass. Big. Everything that involves pouring a liquidish thing of some kind, I will mess it up forever.
Actually, I agree
never
with
do
this.
It right.
This happens with my smoothies because every time I make a smoothie, I'm like, this was too much. It basically fills up the entirety of my Yeti Rambler, and I'll be like, next time I won't do it. But I have so many ingredients.
Sounds like slang.
With every single one, I'd be like, well, I want a little more spinach. Well, I want a few more blackberries. And then
you got to make it like it's like 15
again.
stomachs worth of fluid.
It is. Yeah.
I can't measure liquids. Every single time I'll be like, okay, so it's supposed to go to like there. Okay, cool, I got it. And then the next time I'll just be like, here we go.
Yep.
That was whoops. Every time. She's not wrong. I don't know how to fix it. I just don't pay attention to it. What you do
is you do your initial pour and then you split it in half and save the other half for a different day.
I guess that would make sense.
That could work.
I could do that. I could do that. But
specifically for my smoothies, I think I could do that.
Ooh, that would be a good idea.
It would be like half a smoothie, which is probably like a real
like stick
full smoothie.
You could stick the blender cup like just in the fridge.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how that would affect the consistency and like how easy it is to drink through a straw if it was so like all cold.
Yeah. You may have to like reblend it a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I could do that. Okay.
You could just do that to mix it up. But I think like my solution is just got to be like, I should be pouring things that are, it's not important if I pour too much. I should just like make it so that I can make that mistake without it being a problem.
Well, you
That's
may
my
have
hack.
to start measuring or just bring it up to your eyes when you pour it. Because then you can actually see the level. I think if you're pouring it down here,
that might be part of the problem.
You're looking at a weird angle.
I'm pouring into the curved whiskey glasses, so the curvature of the glass and the fluids making it all look wrong to me. And I'm not doing myself
measure your pour.
Not doing myself any favors.
Yeah. All right. What's my last? Or no, I have two more, right?
Yep. Two more. Okay.
Ooh, I like your next
one.
Tom,
you are very careless with food. You put empty milk cartons and containers empty ones back in the fridge?
I do not do that.
That's what this says, Tom.
I do not do that.
The prosecution has spoken. That sounds ridiculous. Are they nearly empty?
I don't. You know what? Okay. Sometimes.
Okay, so now that we got to devolve into it, it's going to find out you do that.
I will put a nearly empty half and half or milk carton back into the fridge because there is enough for one more cup of coffee later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not put
All right. Well, I mean, I don't have any other data.
Back in the fridge. I contest that one. I object.
I'll allow the objection because I don't have the evidence,
exactly.
But
the defense rests.
But you've been accused for a reason.
Well, I object with one of those cool comic-y call-out things around the word objection.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Phoenix, right? And Anna can have a ruffly cravat all she wants. She's not correct in this instance.
All right.
Yeah, I don't do that. My brother did that when we were growing up. And when I was growing up, I would sometimes do that thing where I put the milk back in the fridge because there's a little bit left. And I'd be like, but Mom, there's enough for your coffee. And she'd get mad at me. But now that I'm an adult, there is enough for my coffee. And I do use it for my coffee.
Okay, so at the very least,
I just remembered I had coffee.
Tom cannot comprehend that he's doing this. At the very least, it's a... I don't know if it's the least. Maybe it's at the most.
Am I doing it at my
There
sleep?
There may be a reality where this is happening, and Tom simply can't see it no matter what. It's impossible.
I can't fathom.
I don't know.
All right.
I wasn't there.
All right, we got to move on to the next one because I'm looking at the camera and it has 17 minutes of battery or 12. Can't tell.
Ooh, well, we're pretty much almost done here anyway.
That's true. We're nearing the end. All right, I love this one. Apparently, you FaceTime Ashley from the next room instead of coming down to talk to her, and usually you switch between multiple filters like the cat or the owl while doing it.
Yes.
This is hilarious. I love this.
First of all, I don't want to get up. Second of all, if I get up, do I look like an anthropomorphic owl? No, I don't. Why doesn't she want me to live my best life?
We could make you a mask.
Well, that would be great.
You made a mask of my face.
that looked precisely like one of those things, and I walked in, she would probably be very concerned about me. But
actually,
she's not
plastic
wrong.
Surgery.
Yeah. I do this. It's very true. The stupid animal face things, they amuse me more than I think they deserve to, but for some reason they do. I can be a shark. That's pretty cool.
That's true. Being a shark.
I've never
pretty
been
cool.
a shark before.
That's worth not getting up.
Yeah, and also I was thinking that like it'd be a good idea if we like FaceTimed each other while working, so that it'd be like we were working in the same room, but less distracting. And then I just know that I'm still gonna be a shark that's like working, so she's gonna have to learn to deal with that.
If I get in a Zoom call with my business partners, I will always put a stupid background on.
Yeah, I just don't see why I shouldn't
Unless
use something dumb. The button's there. It says, Martin, use me. Do something dumb. True. And I'll be like, okay. All right.
If they didn't want you to use it, they wouldn't put it there.
They want me to. They want me to.
So, all right. That's my last one.
Number 9.
Like a big one that you save for last?
It's an expensive one.
Like
once bought a PS4 to play Monster Hunter with us, even though we did specifically tell you this is not your type of game. This is not at all, because it's a hundreds of hours game. It's just boss fights over and over. And you played it for like 2 hours and quit. And you bought like a whole PS4. And we were just like, you're not gonna play this game, Tom. You're not. This isn't gonna happen.
I didn't.
It'd be cool
for just 2 hours.
Is it 3?
Did put 15 hours.
15 hours. That's like the
Hunter.
Intro cutscene. This is Monster Hunter.
Okay, it is. 15 hours is like a normal game. Okay.
No, it's not. 30 hours is the normal game. I play.
What kind of games
RPGs.
are you playing? You weeb.
RPGs.
I play games like Pokemon
and
I was
Animal
about
Crossing.
To say Hollow Knight, but Hollow Knight's like a 60-hour game.
Like all my favorite games are like 100 hours plus.
All right, well, like Celeste. No, never mind. That's like 100.
But you put a lot of hours in that simply by dying a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Never, okay. Well, you know what?
That's like a short game unless you're
games
not
with
that
like
great
normal campaigns. And if I could think of one right now, Crash Bandicoot. There you go. That's
just like a
to 15
fun platforming game. There's not like
I like games like that.
Super Mario but you don't
Odyssey,
like games like Monster Hunter, which is
like
the point.
All right, here's the thing with video games. It's another one of those very aspirational things where I would love to recapture something that happened when I was a kid and a teenager, where I get sucked into a game and it like becomes everything for a while. I don't think I'll ever achieve it again.
It does feel fun.
I think I've lost it. And I really liked the idea of having a game that Anna played and that you played that I could also hop on and like, do something with you guys in a video game. I thought it sounded really fun.
It did. But it wasn't going to happen.
Then I have to actually play the game and it's like, all right.
And with Monster Hunter, you got to keep up.
Look for
if you don't keep
tracks.
up with everybody, then like you can't even do the same missions as them because you'll just get crushed in 3 seconds.
Yeah, and you gotta
it's
hit the Karapeco, and then it
honestly
runs
it's kind of like
and you gotta do
Warcraft in that way.
It is. Really
that's why I don't play Warcraft, because I don't want to keep up with an entire guild or I fall behind. But with Monster Hunter, even though it's like the opposite of the normal games I'd play and there's no good reason for me to love it, I just love it for some reason.
Yes.
You know what we should play? Magic the Gathering Arena came out on Mac today.
Yes, we should. And I will
so
absolutely
I'm going to be installing that basically immediately after this because I've been waiting.
I will admit Monster Hunter
for this moment for all my life.
Has
oh Lord.
For someone else who isn't me, the gameplay loop is great. It isn't like another game, like a lot of other games where the gameplay loop is not actually that fun and what's really driving you is just the numbers and the grinding. Like Monster Hunter's loop is good. It's just not for me.
Yeah, it's like a technical boss fight. You actually have to try. It's not it's not grinding in the I'm going to press this button and that's basically it sense. It's really fun, but it does require hundreds of hours.
Yes. But
to get anywhere useful.
I do have to admit that I did buy another PS4 thinking
it was another PS4 because Anna was going to have to be playing on the other one.
That's why.
So now you have 2 PS4s.
It is a PS4 Pro, so it was an upgrade to the first PS4, and I know a lot of gamer friends of mine who have had the regular PS4 and upgraded to the PS4 Pro, so I will use them as a shield for my poor financial decision there. But
that's fair.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. Currently, what I'm trying to get into with Hannah is Destiny 2, which is free. So That's a little bit of improvement. It's a
so like a first person.
Yeah, it's a first person shooter sort of MMO thing, but it's made by the people who made Halo. And I know, like, as somebody who played Overwatch for probably 200 hours, like, FPS games are my jam. Like Magic as well. Magic the Gathering, card style games are my jam. FPS games are my jam. Rhythm games are my jam. Platformers are my jam. Those are the four, pretty much. So if I can play something where it's like a core gameplay loop that I really like and I can play with my friends, then I'm probably going to stick with it. And at least in this case, if I don't stick with it, all I invested was a few hours.
Yeah.
Do you know, does Monster Hunter World have crossplay? Because they have it on Steam now, I think.
I do not have any idea. I didn't even know that it was available on another. Oh, yeah. Wait. Yeah, it is on PC.
Pretty sure it's on PC.
I don't know.
I don't think it was on PC when I got the PS4.
I don't do PC gaming, so I do not know my 9-10-year-old. Not 10. It's a 7-year-old MacBook Air. Simply cannot run those games or hold the space for a Windows partition at this point in time.
This is going to make me look even worse, but it's not the first time I've done this.
Really?
Yeah, back in college, Pokemon X and Y came out, and I was really excited by the idea of like playing with you and our other roommates. So I bought a 3DS and Pokemon X, and then I also bought one for Anna, and I got her Pokemon Y. She actually played it. I got to the first gym leader, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, the problem here is that you simply jump right into the expensive thing without like waiting 5 seconds to see, wait, maybe I didn't need that. You invest real fast.
I do.
Which is useful sometimes for business reasons, but when it comes to video game consoles, it has backfired.
I invest incredibly fast. I started dating Anna the day that I met her.
Yeah,
which means that she does too. But
jump right in.
Yeah, I'm not really a let's just like hold off and see person. I have to work very hard to be like that. So
that's fair.
And maybe that's like a theme here.
I do have similar urges. I just hold back slightly longer.
All right, I got one more for you. And I agree with this one.
I don't
This
already.
is a shared grievance. Forgets to eat most of the day, then wonders why it's 10 p.m. and he's suddenly hungry.
I do wonder why I'm hungry.
Because you need to eat food, you dingus.
Yeah. I will have some days where I will suddenly get up, be lightheaded, and be like, wait, why am I... Oh, yeah, I didn't eat nothing. Huh.
Exactly.
And I didn't drink nothing either. That's cool.
Just make a smoothie.
But, I didn't use the blender for like 3 months because the sink... God, I feel like I'm going to call out my own 10th thing here. But the sink had a clog issue, and then I didn't fix it for a few months. Like, because I fixed the clog, but the kitchen was dirty and because stuff piled up, and then I just didn't want to deal with it. So then I left it, and then I didn't use my fancy blender for months and still haven't. I let things pile up until they overwhelm me, at which point more things only pile on top of them.
That's true.
Increasing the level of overwhelm.
Don't stop.
And then it never stops. And then I'm just like, maybe I'll never go in the kitchen again. Maybe that's a solution.
That is true. If you just abandon the room.
If I just leave it.
Technically, logically.
It's done.
If you never go in that room
again. It's like
again.
if you lose your car in a parking lot and you're just like, it's done. And you just never come back, and I don't have a car anymore. Nope. It's too complicated. It's over, Rebecca.
I'll get a new one. It's over. You're still paying for that one though. That's what they think.
No. Yeah, it's done.
They can go repo it. They're gonna be like, "Where's your car?" Like, I don't know.
I never bought a car from you. I don't know. What are you talking about? Yeah, I let things pile up. So then I just don't eat because I'm like, but the kitchen is I don't care anymore. And then I just do something else.
I think half the audience is going to be like, wow, these guys are a lot sillier than we thought they were. And then the other half is going to say, hey, I do that too.
Yeah. Well, listen, today I have this mineral water.
There are no calories in that.
There is calcium though, and that starts with cal.
It does, but it's not going to make you feel any less hungry.
That's my defense.
All right. Those are our lists, right?
Yep, that's it.
Cool. Well, I need to wrap this up before my camera dies. I think I have 8 minutes left.
Do that.
So
8 minutes. Here we go.
That is going to be the end of this episode. This is episode 298 of the College Info Geek podcast, which means that if there, for some reason, are show notes for this episode, I don't know if there are. This was like just a fun episode.
I'm not sure.
They will, if they exist, they will be at cigpodcast.com/298, or you can go over to cigpodcast.com with no trailing slashes or numbers if you want to find out how to subscribe to this show. That's our little home base for the podcast. We have links to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and lots of other cool places to listen to podcasts. If you want to support this show, one way you can do that is by making a fire, as long as there's no fire danger, and putting some smoke signals into the air so your neighbors can see, at least the ones who have been trained in military standard smoke signal analysis courses.
We've got them in every neighborhood.
Podcast. For everyone else out there, you can simply tell your friends, hey, I really like this show called the College Info Geek Podcast, and their name is changing in like 3 episodes. And so you could maybe...
Yeah, so get started now. Get ready. Started now. And then listen to this episode 300. Isn't it great?
Oh, yeah. And then I have to explain that the name changed. And,
yeah. Oh, speaking of which, the next episode, I want to be a pure Q&A. So, y'all send in your questions. They don't even necessarily need to be productivity based. Usually they're filtered out to be useful. But just what kind of questions you got?
That's true.
Trying to get through these last few episodes with a little bit of levity.
We should probably put that at the beginning of the episode, or I'll just make an Instagram story.
Yeah, I was going to put it on Instagram too.
That's probably the biggest thing. All right, that's it. So thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Stay cute.